Hey, welcome to our channel today, and today we are going to talk about, my friends always ask me, Irene, how do you survive Norwegian winters? When I came in 2006 to Norway, I remember that I came in August, and by then I already started putting on my sweater. And I started that year, that was at NTNU at the university in Trondheim. A student who presented perspective from a student perspective, international student, and I said I'm gonna present. So in 2007, 8, 9, I was the one presenting, and I enjoyed that. So I could come with some tips on how to survive in Norway. And today I thought that you can also get the same tips and share some tips down there below, how we can survive in Norway. One of the things that is very important that I have written in my book is tran, or omega, or what we call vitamin D. And this one, this is tran. This is tran. It's a typical Norwegian. It's made from fish. You can find one. I remember when I tried it, it was like oil of the fish. I didn't like it, but there is one which has a citron taste, and it's very good for children. It's very good for children. So you take a spoon. They say it's good for the heart and it's good for your immune system and vitamin D. So you either take this one or you take omega. There are some tablets, and people who are dark like me, you better start very early taking this. Normally I start around September, because most of the time we don't get enough sun, and the more darker you are, the more sun you need. So we don't get enough sun in Norway, because in the winters we have where we almost don't see sun at all, and many months, because in Norway winters start, there's a saying that there's only green and white winters in Norway, the green being the so-called summer, and then the white winters, the snow. So around October, winter has already started, and then it can go up to April. And if you come from a tropical country like me, then even by September it's cold. So today, being that it's almost September, I thought I'd come with some tips. Also, there's another saying that there is no bad weather but bad clothing in Norway. And Norwegians believe if you dress well, then you can't complain about the weather. It's very interesting. So what does that mean? Always have enough clothes. Always have an extra jacket in my bag, or an extra glove or something like that. I remember the first time I was going to the university at NTNU, and just to go to the bus stop, my hands were freezing, yet I was putting on gloves, and I couldn't reach my pocket to remove the bus card. I couldn't do anything. So whatever you do when your hands are so cold, don't put on hot water. The experience was excruciating. It was so painful. Don't put on hot water. Let it take its time to cool down. In Norway, we would dress in layers. I took something here to show you. For example, my son, and it's especially to dress children very, very well. We dress in layers like onion. You see how the onion has layers? And for example, this I'll put on my son on his head, and then I'll put on this, which we put around the neck, for example. And depending on the weather, I even may put on this in addition. So most of the time, take enough clothes to the daycare, to the school, because they change accordingly. Never trust there's another saying, never trust the Norwegian weather. There are two things you never trust in Norwegian weather, and another thing you should guess. But never trust the Norwegian weather, because suddenly it may be very warm or very cold. So this one, you take it off. They take it off at daycare, but it's better that they have enough. And let me show you another thing, how we dress. For example, when I talk about layers, for example, my son we have what we call, this is 100% wool, and I recommend buying Norwegian wool. You can buy second-hand things because they are cheaper, and children's clothes are very expensive and they grow out very fast. Now this one doesn't fit my son, it's from last winter. So this is what I put on the first thing he puts on, and I'll put on this one, for example, on top of that, and I'll either put on what we call frisgenser, something like this, on top of that, or I'll put on this one. I'll put on a sweater, I think that's what it's called, or cardigan. So I'll put on this one, or this one. And then when it comes to dressing down, then it's the same thing, the blazer, then the underwear, then we have what we call, where is strumpe? And in Norway we call it strumpe. It's a wool kind of stockings. So I'll put on this one, and then he will put on the trouser, and he'll put on this one, which is handmade. These ones people in Norway, they make them, but if you don't know how to make them, buy second-hand or on Vinter, no? Because there it's cheaper. So after that, then I'll put on this, the jacket, and this, you know. So it's very important that you dress them well. So imagine all this to one kid. These are layers I am talking about. And don't forget, we have the socks. So sometimes you put on cotton, or this one can also be wool, Norwegian wool. And then you put on, if you put on this one, then you have also these kind of socks which are also wool, knitted. And then the gloves, also very important. You put on the gloves. So normally I put on this, or I have another form of gloves. Excuse me. This one, because it may be wet, so you never trust the Norwegian weather. Make sure you have enough clothes. So sometimes he puts on this, or sometimes he puts on this. So imagine you have 4 kids or more than that, and everybody has to put on this. In the morning they can be stressed while dressing them, and you yourself, you're gonna dress in layers. So plan well, have enough time, and start the work. In my language there's a saying that it's a Luganda saying which says that which means that an elephant will never fail to carry its trunks. So you will manage helping your children. Another thing I wrote in the book is winter activities. Don't be inside the house. There is skiing. There's a lot of beautiful winter activities around in your community. So try them so that you exercise, and don't, most of the people, they get stressed in winter, what we call winter stress and depression, because they're inside the house. It's so cold outside. Sometimes it's so cold that you just feel, you don't really feel your body, you know, the hands and everything. So to avoid the winter stress, try to be social, invite friends, be invited, go out. Don't be inside the house all the time. Also, there's what we call winter diseases, if I can say like that. But most people, they get like influenza, and then there is this omgangssyke for kids. So what is very important is that drink, eat well. That means the soups, warm soups, tea all the time. And me, in my family, we start with taking vitamin C early, because it helps with the throat and all that, and we start dressing warm clothes early. Another thing that is very, very important, learn to walk on ice. I see many people in the winter, you're gonna see many people on crutches and broken legs and all that, and also especially we foreigners, because walking on ice here, I see my children, they learn when they are small, and we don't know. You don't just walk, and buy good shoes with spikes. Put on spikes, use this, I don't know even what it's called. I see people having like like sticks, hiking or something like that. And be careful. Look where you walk. I normally look where I step and I walk where there are some stones. And also don't put the whole of your weight. You walk like a little bit like a penguin. You don't put all your weight on the ice. Don't run on the ice. Be very careful. So plan so that you have enough time, because sometimes maybe you have a bus to catch, you have all the things, and then before you know it, and it's so painful when you fall on that ice. I did once and I know what I'm talking about. Those are the tips I have today. But also there's what we call stemning, kushli. Make it kushli. It's a Norwegian typical thing, like cozy in the house. Have some plants. Like this is my avocado, which I planted. Now I'm gonna have it in the winters. Have some plants, put on some candles, blankets, and nice, make it kushli. And you'll enjoy the winters. Thank you. Leave some tips down and subscribe if you are new to our channel, and leave tips for us. See you next weekend. Bye bye. This is Irene, and here are some of the tips if I've forgotten anything that I wrote here. Bye bye.